So I think I have more questions than answers after my last Dane's platform on throwing light implements. So I don't know, a couple questions was, do you have any scientific evidence to back up what I'm saying? I don't know, if there's scientific evidence published in peer-reviewed journals that would say, throwing a light implement will increase your throw with a competition shot. I think there's plenty of evidence that shows, ballistic bench throws with a 40 kilo med ball or a 20 kilo med ball will increase your bench press or, your rate of force production. And that's the key that I think we need to understand, is that the whole concept of throwing the shot farther is to increase your rate of force production. So how fast can you produce the force? And one example I like to use, I don't know if this is true. I heard it when I was in college. It might be true, it might be false. But I remember someone saying Reese Hoffa in like 2002 or something, or 2000, could throw a 12-pound shot, 2480. Okay, so let's just say it is true. And I don't know if it is, but let's say it is. And Reese Hoffa could throw 2480 with a 12-pound shot, and when he was then let's say 2 weeks later he threw 21 with a 16-pound shot. Well, let's say the goal for 2 years is to get Reese to throw 2550 with the 12-pounder. And here's where my issue comes in with a lot of traditional training modes, is to get Reese to throw the 12-pounder 2550. We're not going to need to increase his bench press. He's already benching 450 to 500 pounds or 200 kilos plus. We're not going to need to increase his snatch or his squats. He's probably squatting 550, 600 pounds. Those aren't going to increase his 12-pound shot. And I think when we're training with the light implements, that's when we learn the most that maximum strength or absolute strength really has a ceiling with improving the light implements. So your 12, for 5K, 5.5K, 6K, 6.5K, and 6.8 kilos with a 15. So what would you do with Reese to try and get him to throw 2550 or something ridiculous? You'd have him throw light shots. You'd have him do lighter special strength movements to really learn how to throw far. And that was one thing that I learned from Justin Rohde with training with light shots, is that your body learns how to throw farther. And then, the other implements will catch up to the learning period that you have with the lighter shots. So I think that's the overriding lesson with throwing light implements, isn't that, you recruit more motor units, or you recruit more fast twitch muscle fibers, so it's better than throwing heavy shots. No, light shots are good because it's good to mix it up. Heavy shots are good because it's good for your body to adapt to that. Competition shots are good because that's what you're throwing in competition. So there's always something that you have to adapt to. And the more adaptations your body makes, the further you're going to throw. That's the principle of training, weightlifting, everything. But now, going back to Hoffa throwing the 12-pound shot, is that you have to constantly, for him to improve his 12-pound shot, we might need him to throw the 10-pound shot. We might need him to throw 5K. We might need him to throw the 6K more, and we might need him to throw the 14 more. Now, let's say he gets to he gets to 2550, and he's one of those guys that he always feels better with a heavy shot. So he's constantly throwing this light shot. Well, now all of a sudden, the 16-pound shot feels almost like a heavy shot to him, and that starts feeling better, and he starts feeling better technique-wise with that. So I think that's the overriding theme with that I have learned with my athletes, is that you don't necessarily, the strength gains that they'll make in the weight room aren't necessarily going to transfer over to the lighter implements. And that's where you have to start looking at other modes of strength improvements to increase your results with the light implements and with your competition shot. Because the thing is, the further you throw the 12-pounder, the further you throw the 14-pounder, even if you're competing with the 16, it's still going to have a positive impact on your 16-pound shot. And that's the other thing. Everybody says, oh, well, there's a big difference between the 12 and the 16-pound shot. There's not that much of a difference. I had my one college roommate. When I graduated high school, I threw 62 feet. He threw 60 feet 6. I could bench press over 400 pounds. He could bench press 225. His name's Steve Myers. 225, that's what he could bench. He could power clean 225. I could power clean 315 for 3 reps. I snatched 242, 110 kilos. He could probably snatch 70 kilos. But we were within 2 pounds difference. Then in college, my best was 1816, his best was 1790, and his lifts went off the charts. But he was still, like, generally speaking, his strength went up a lot, but nothing really changed that much with his 16-pound shot. You know, when he came in his freshman year, I think he threw 51, 52 feet like around 1580. By the end he was done. 1780, 1790 was his best, absolute best. So I don't know if that helps at all, but I think the general rule of thumb is that the light implements teaches you that there's other ways to increase your competition results other than max strength. You know, there's big benefits from working with light implements. There's big benefits from working with light implements in the weight room. There's big benefits from working with light implements special strength wise. And all that stuff can carry over. There's a ceiling for max strength in the shot with the 16 and the shot with the 12. And they're not that far apart. And that's the big thing that we have to start grasping in the United States that will transfer over to the discus and the hammer and the javelin, is that max strength isn't always the answer. There's other answers to increasing your competition results. Hey, so I wanted to finish my thought. I had to get going. My son was a little antsy. So I guess for throwing the light shots, another way that we can always see is, you know, we see kids in high school who are throwing 70 feet, 72 feet, Everyone knew Ryan Whiting was going to throw really well with the 16-pound shot because he threw the 12-pound shot really well. He had a really good high school coach. He trained really well. Everyone knew he was going to do really well. And it was because he threw the light shots far. Same with Ryan Krauser. Now Nick Venus starting to really do really well. These are all guys who threw really well with the light implements. There's some different cases where guys throw really far with the light shots, don't throw as well in college. They might be injured. They might have had mediocre coaches. I don't know. They might have been on drugs, whatever. I have no idea. But usually, if a kid's throwing 70-plus feet with a 12-pound shot, he's going to transfer well with the 16-pound shot. He could come in, throw 60 feet right away with the 16. So we can always use the lighter implements to keep growing the competition shot, even after you're done high school, even after you're done college. It's always a good tool to have to throw anywhere from the 5K all the way up to the 12-kilo shot. But the light shots should be used not because they recruit more muscle fibers, but because they're a great training tool to help you throw far.